If you're at all like me, you have struggled with confidence issues when it comes to speaking to a group or to a camera. Now, despite your ability to communicate with people on a daily basis with minimal issue, when you get put in front of a crowd or a camera, you can't say your name without your voice trembling. Now, in the not so distant past, this was my reality, but I eventually learned how to overcome this fear. I wanted to start this very YouTube channel more than anything, but I couldn't figure out how to speak with any level of confidence in my voice. Now, I'm happy to say that these days, that's more or less a non-issue, and I'm improving with every new video I make. Overcoming my fear of the camera and speaking to crowds required a strategic and deliberate effort. Now, today, I'm gonna share my method which helped me to become a more confident speaker and less afraid of looking into the lens and talking to each and every one of you. Step 1, idea generation. Now, while this might seem painfully obvious, the first step of generating an idea or a topic you'd like to make your video about is more important than you think. Proper topic selection makes your words flow more naturally from your head to your mouth. For example, let's say your hobby is playing racing video games. Well, it's going to be a lot easier for you to speak endlessly and naturally about your favorite car setup and your favorite racing game than it would be to talk about your mild interest in collecting hourglasses. Trying to force yourself to speak naturally about a topic that you don't know that much about is a more advanced level of communication. You're not ready for that yet. When starting out, pick topics you care about and know a lot about. This stage of the game, it's all about repetition. Practice makes perfect, so use this time to get in as many reps as possible. Step 2, outline. So, now you've chosen a video topic that you know a lot about. Now it's time to decide what you're gonna talk about within that video. This is where generating a video outline really comes in handy. There are endless ways to set up your outline, but one of the most common ways involves having an intro or a hook, some form of context, which is the why, your primary talking points, and then a conclusion of some kind. Again, there are a number of ways you can go about this, so just shop around for your favorite video structure method. What you're trying to accomplish with your outline is to streamline and focus the talking points of your video. This will help to keep you on track and not stray too far outside the lines. For example, let's stick with the racing video game example. So let's say you decide to make a video about the best beginner car in Gran Turismo. Well, the reason you're gonna want an outline for this video is to keep you from straying too far and introducing too many things in the video that don't matter to that particular topic. You know, instead of helping your viewers understand the difference between rally and sports cars, you could end up ranting about what your favorite tracks are or what steering wheel and pedal configuration you prefer. I'm sure your viewers will eventually want to know about all that other stuff, but for now, give them what they came for, which is which car they should pick when starting out. Give them exactly what they hope to receive by clicking on your thumbnail. This is the perfect time for you to fill in any knowledge gaps that you might have. When laying out your outline, you may find that there are things that you know, but you don't know the how or the why behind it. This could be relevant to your viewers, or it could not be. Either way, at least the outline will reveal this to you, and you'll have a chance to address it if you think it's helpful to do so. Now, after you've completed the outline, you can generate talking points to reference throughout the video. These can be left on your phone or laptop or print them out. And during filming, you can just, pause every now and again, refresh your memory about what comes next and then continue to film. This method works really well for some, but honestly, I see it as a hassle for most people, including myself when I'm just starting out. For the rest of us not talented at stringing together wonderfully crafted sentences on the fly, we're gonna need to move on to step 3, scripting. Now, this step is completely optional depending on who you are. It's an argument as old as media. There are some very strong opinions on this one. Now, I can see the merits to both, but I do have a preference for one over the other, although this is subject to change as I get more comfortable talking to a camera. Now, I'm a big fan of scripting every single one of my videos. Every single word, every pause, every joke, I script it all. This is not unusual for some of the biggest YouTubers out there. Audience retention is a real thing, and if you don't tighten up your video script and the pacing, you're gonna lose people fast. This is something that I need to work on, but in my niche, which is productivity, it's kind of difficult to do that. That's why this step is optional, because it changes depending on your needs. So for example, for me, giving productivity advice, in my opinion thus far, it's generally accepted to be delivered in a manner that's a slow burn kind of way. It's just delivered in a very slow and easygoing manner. Now, most YouTubers in my niche, they don't go crazy with all the quick cuts and edits. There is a notable exception. Ali Abdaal, you know, he breaks this rule, and I think that's why he's so successful at what he does. He has a way of delivering the advice you came to him for while also keeping his edits tight and engaging. If you do decide to script, I have 2 bits of advice for you that have worked wonders for me. The first one is write how you talk. Again, that sounds obvious, but if you aren't careful, sometimes you're going to catch yourself typing things out in a way that you've heard someone else say it, and maybe not necessarily the way that you would say it. And maybe it's just me, probably is, but I'm horrible about this. I'll start typing things out and think to myself, you know, others in my niche would say this sentence in a way smarter way. I have to remind myself that I can't be fake and write a script in the way that Ollie would. I'm me, and I have to write like me. The second bit of advice would be to speak out loud when you write. Now, this is something I very recently started doing. In order to ensure that my script sounds and flows the way that I talk, I now speak out loud as I talk. And I am dead serious about this too. My wife likes to play Minecraft at the desk behind me when I'm scripting, and I often hear her say, "You say something, babe?" Now, this goes back to my first bit of advice. It helps to use the words that I would use instead of using words that I think would make me sound as smart as the YouTubers that I look up to. Now, after you've jammed out a script and you're happy with it, you'll need a way to reference it during filming. Now, here you have 2 options. You could either have it next to you and try to memorize the script like an actor remembering lines, or you can use a teleprompter. Now, you'd be surprised how many large YouTubers and traditional media personalities use teleprompters. Now, admittedly, theirs are usually pretty advanced, but you don't need anything fancy. The teleprompter that I use, it costs about $100 on Amazon, and the app I use on my phone costs like $20 a year, I think. I think a teleprompter is great. It's really helped me to free up my mind to focus on delivering the information that I want to deliver. There is one issue with the teleprompter that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. Reading off a teleprompter can sound a lot like reading. It's a delicate balance to read it while sounding interesting and natural. It takes practice, but I do have a practice method that will help you to get there more quickly. Step 4, proofread. Now, the first step in reading more naturally from your teleprompter or paper script is just to proof your script. Again, this sounds painfully obvious, but most people just won't do it. When you first sit down to write a script, the first go through always seems amazing, like you have just written the next great literary masterpiece and there can't be any flaws in your work of art. If you find yourself feeling this way, then I encourage you to read through the entire script out loud and see how it flows. I do this with every single one of my scripts, and I always find myself getting tongue-tied and changing things up. You know, it sounded good in my head, but saying it out loud just screws me up. Heck, sometimes I still don't catch all the mistakes until the camera rolls, and it never fails. There will be that one sentence I just can't seem to get right, and I have to change it on the fly after like the 5th take just to get it right. Proof your stuff. It helps. Step 5, do 2 takes. Now, the second step in making your script delivery sound more natural is to do a throwaway film take. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, you should film the entire video with the camera rolling, go through the entire script, and then do it all over again. Why waste all this time? Well, aside from the obvious, which is getting in the additional reps, which will naturally make you better, your first few minutes of filming are always going to be your worst. You'll be shaky, your voice will be jittery, and you'll be unsure of yourself. You're going to be thinking way too much, and you won't sound natural. If you watch back the footage you did in your first take, you can probably pick out a specific part where you made a notable shift in your comfort level in your line delivery. Audience retention is a real thing, guys, and if the first few minutes, really the first few seconds, aren't your best, then people are gonna click off. Again, I know this sounds like a huge waste of time, but you know what else is a huge waste of time? Filming an entire video and having people click off only a few seconds in. Do 2 takes, and then put your second take, which is your best version, forward for the world to see. All right, got a bonus tip for you guys. You ready? Super complex. Go for a long walk. Now, what I'm about to say is gonna sound strange coming from someone who makes a living in the military, but I don't really like working out. I think a better way to put it is that I don't really enjoy it. I get it, it's necessary for me to stay in shape for my job and to maintain good body mechanics in the day-to-day life, but outside of that, I don't enjoy exercise. Now, all that said, there is one form of mild exercise that I've been incorporating into my creative workflow for several months now, and that is going for long walks. Now, if you're watching this video, then chances are you have a full-time job, or maybe you're a full-time student. And after a long, full day, your mind and body just, they just feel like they're spent. Trying to sit down and write out a script or to feel energized talking on camera becomes a daunting chore, which just sucks all the fun out of it. The best way I've found to get the blood flowing again is to go for a walk. Seriously, I don't know what it is about going for a walk, but it just gets my blood moving throughout my whole body. I get some fresh air, I'm alone in my own thoughts, and it just brings me back from the dead. There's also a potential for like a mind shift kind of aspect at work here because of the way I've structured my walks. See, whenever I decide that I'm gonna sit down and work on my videos, whether it's scripting or filming or editing, I will walk into the room and I have two non-negotiable choices to make. I can either immediately get right to work working on my videos, or I throw on a weight vest and go for a walk. Those are my two options. There are no others. There's no alternatives. It doesn't matter how hot it is outside, how tired I feel, or how late or early it is. If I'm not going to immediately commit to doing the thing, which is working on the videos, I go for a weight vest loaded walk. Now on the surface, this seems like a huge time waster, as it takes me what, like an hour to do the whole thing? I gotta put the vest on, go for a walk, come home and take a shower. If you really break it down, it's not really a time waster, because when I get back from the walk, I'm more energized and productive than I otherwise would have been if I had just tried to force myself and push through the frustrations and fatigue I was having and getting right to work. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox on that. Going for a walk when you're not feeling motivated or energized, highly recommended. But in the end, all of this, guys, it's just gonna take time. Standing up in front of a crowd or talking to a camera, it's not a natural thing for anyone to do. But I've used every single one of these steps to help me to gain some form of camera confidence, and I continue to use them to refine my voice just that little bit each and every day. Now, once again, I appreciate all of y'all for watching. If you found this video useful, please do all that YouTube stuff. Comment, like, subscribe, share. You know what to do. I got more videos to follow. Y'all take it easy.